Now to the race for the White House. With 1 week until Election Day, more than 48 million ballots have been cast across 47 states and the District of Columbia. Let's see how early voting for California is shaping out. So far in the Golden State, over 4.8 million mail-in and early in-person votes have been cast. Roughly 50% are from registered Democrats, 30% from registered Republicans, and 20% other. Now, these come as both former President Trump and Vice President Harris make their final campaign pushes.
This is an election. It's really a choice between whether or not we'll have 4 more years of total failure. This has been the worst 4 years I've ever seen. Gross incompetence, but total failure, disaster under Kamala Harris.
Former President Donald Trump in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania today, taking part in a rally in Allentown after attending a roundtable in Delaware County. Earlier in the day, he held a campaign event from his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida.
This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
And in Washington tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris delivered what she called her closing argument speech at the site of Trump's January 6, 2021 rally, which occurred shortly before members of the audience stormed the Capitol. She accused Trump of spending the past decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other.
Well, in the run-up to the election, we've had people representing perspectives from each major party with us. And tonight we are joined by Chairwoman Patterson, the chairwoman of the California Republican Party. Nice to have you here, Jessica. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
So what is your reaction to Harris's closing argument? And also, what is the GOP's closing argument heading into the closing week of this campaign? 7 days to go.
Well, I think the backdrop, when she's been trying to distance herself from being a part of this disastrous administration for the last 4 years, and the backdrop of the White House tying her once again to the Biden-Harris administration and every single failure that comes with it, whether it's the unaffordability, our crime that is happening all over our country, our border that's open like a sieve. We see that what she represents right there in that White House.
This weekend, we saw former President Trump campaigning at Madison Square Garden in New York City. A few weeks ago, he was here in California out at Coachella. You were there as well. Obviously, an important element in his playbook and the Republican playbook to work to get out the vote, particularly down ballot races, something that's crucial, particularly here in California, determining the balance of power in Congress.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have been focused for the last 5.5 years of growing the Republican Party. When I first took over as chair in February of 2019, we were essentially the 3rd largest party in the state. Decline to states and no party preference had more people choosing them than the California Republican Party. We've worked incredibly hard. We've registered over 820,000 new Republicans. And this is something that we've done by going into communities that have been neglected by our party over the years. We have seen, especially in this last year, 250,000 new Republicans. In that same time period, Democrats have lost 75,000. Decline to states have gone down 25,000. This makes a huge difference, particularly in those targeted congressional races where we have picked up registration every single place. The presidential race will be decided by 7 states not named California. We know what our job is. And over the last 2 cycles, we've picked up 5 Republican House seats. In that same time period, Democrats have lost 6 Democrat seats here. So we're going to continue to hold on to the House majority and maybe even grow it by picking up a few more.
Okay, and what's your prediction? Where do you think that you're going to be picking up those seats?
So I think we'll be focused on obviously protecting the 5 seats we've picked up over the last 2 cycles. We've added Congressman Ken Calvert to that list. His seat got a little tougher during the redraw, but we're looking at the open Katie Porter seat. Scott Baugh is in a perfect position. We just took over in the Republican registration there. Kevin Lincoln, who's running up against Josh Harder in the Stockton area. And then finally, Matt Gunderson down in the San Diego, Orange County area.
Yeah, it's tight.
So there are more registered Republicans in California than any other state in the union. You haven't won a statewide elected office since 2006. Looking ahead to the 2026 gubernatorial and beyond, how do you plan to build momentum and take advantage of that number?
Well, I think you're seeing this trend. And I think, honestly, the road back to sanity here in California is going to be the Latino vote. And that's where we are seeing our largest gains. When you see someone like Congressman Mike Garcia, who went and had a 16-point increase amongst Latino voters from the 2020 cycle to the 22 cycle, you're going to continue to see this trend here in California, which has taken a little longer than we've seen it in other states. And I think that's the road back to winning a statewide office here in California.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Latino vote, nationwide, and as it goes to where President Trump was today in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where there is a large contingent of Latino voters that are of Puerto Rican descent, and back to Madison Square Garden and the comedian who opened up for him, Tony Hinchcliffe, who commented about Puerto Rico and saying that it was a island of garbage. How are you dealing with the uproar of that and the backlash?
I think very fortunately, President Trump and the Trump campaign immediately distanced themselves from those comments. Those comments were terrible. I say that as a Latina. I say that as a Republican. I say that as a fan of comedy. It wasn't funny, and I'm so glad that they quickly disavowed him.
Is there something you can reveal about the former president that most voters don't know with 1 week to go?
I think that he is a person that really knows how to connect with people. And I don't know if everybody knows that. I think some people may have their blinders onto it. But if you ever get the chance to meet him, he's a person that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room.
Thank you so much, Jessica Millan Patterson, chairwoman of the California Republican Party. So nice to have you on set.
It's great to be with you guys.
Okay, good luck with counting.
Yeah, thanks for being here. There are concerns across the country and here at home